ready for the summer weather to come.
Good evening, everybody. The North Ridgeville City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, May 15th, 2023. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, as always, we thank you for the wonderful community in which we live and for the opportunity to represent it as our City Council. We thank you especially this week during National Police Week for all the men and women in the North Ridgeville Police Department for their continued hard work, dedication, and commitment to preserving peace and protecting all people and property in our city. We ask you to watch over and protect them as they carry out their duties. We pray these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swank.
Here.
Boos.
Here.
Abens.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Awig.
Here.
DeVries.
Excused.
Jacobs.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Law Director. Engineer.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Clerk of Council. Here.
Tonight before us, under the approval of minutes, we have the City Council meeting minutes dated May 1st, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as originally submitted. Please note that Council has also received the Safety Committee meeting minutes dated April 17th, 2023, the Housing Council meeting minutes dated April 19th, 2023, the Civil Service Commission meeting minutes dated April 24th, 2023, the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting minutes dated April 27th, 2023, and the Utilities Committee meeting minutes dated May 1st, 2023. That brings us to our lobby session. In a moment, I will open the lobby. As a reminder, in the interest of time, this is not meant to be an interactive question and answer period, but it is an opportunity for the public to address both City Council as well as the City Administration. Any audience members wishing to speak this evening, we do ask that you speak from the podium and begin by stating your name and address for the record. at which point you will be allowed up to 3 minutes to speak regarding any matter related to the business of City Council or the general affairs of the City of North Ridgeville. So at this time, the lobby session is now open, and I know we have at least one who would like to speak. So go ahead, please start by stating your name and address, and your 3 minutes will begin.
My name is Kim Nakoff. I'm at 37445 Tail Feather Drive in North Ridgeville. And I am here to ask for one final plea for your vote today on the low-speed vehicle legislation. You know, it has every safety design that, and we put that into the law, that for it to have every safety feature to make it safe to drive on the roads. It is a neighborhood electric vehicle. It is meant to be driven on the roads. It is already plated, titled, it has insurance on it. And again, we're talking about a low-speed vehicle, not a golf cart. A golf cart, we're talking, is 400 pounds. A low-speed vehicle, we're looking at 1,700. So there is a big difference in the two. So hopefully I'm here to ask for your votes for today, and thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, Mrs. Nakoff. Do we have anybody else this evening who would like to address council? All right, seeing none, the lobby session was now closed, and we will move on to administrative reports. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. There are several items on the agenda that I'll ask for the emergency clause on, and I will wait until we get to those items to talk about those in more detail. So we'll move on to some events that I'd like to share with you. Coming up soon, it is the Discover the Ridge. Tissy forces me to hold this up so everybody can see that we have a brochure available at City Hall, and it's available online as well. The event starts on May 20th at 10 a.m. at LCC's Ridge campus. There's going to be 50 local crafters and barbecue. And then there's 27 other locations. You can, again, download it from our city website or from the Chamber's website. Also on the 20th, it is Lorain County Beautiful Day, and that is from 9 a.m. till noon. It's a great opportunity to play an active role in improving our community and parks. And you're encouraged to clean up, fix up, paint, and spruce up our community. And if you're interested in helping out, please contact our Parks and Recreation Director, Kevin Fugarus, to volunteer. There is a peaceful and proud Veterans Pinning Ceremony on May 26th. Area veterans and their families are invited to a public Veterans Recognition Ceremony, including a free lunch hosted in collaboration with the Senior Center and Hospice of the Western Reserve on May 26th, and that will be, the doors will open at 11 a.m. with the luncheon and program beginning at 11:30. Please register through the Senior Center by calling 440-353-0828 by May 19th. Splash Pad opens up Memorial Day weekend on Saturday, May 27th at South Central Park. The hours of operation are 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. daily through Labor Day, and it is intended for North Ridgeville residents only. The Memorial Day Parade and service will be on May 29th. And obviously that's Monday, May 29th. The parade begins at 9:45 at the Senior Center, travels down Bainbridge Road, and concludes at Ranger Stadium with the memorial service in association with the North Ridgeville Lions Club and VFW Post 9871. For more information, contact the Lions Club Parade Director, our very own Councilman Dennis Boos, at 440-327-8528. On Memorial Day, that Monday, City Hall offices will be closed, and Republic Services will be on a one-day delay for trash collection. That means they'll be in the city on Wednesday, May 31st. In June, early June, we have citywide garage sale days from June 7th to the 10th. The Chamber of Commerce Visitors Bureau will be sponsoring that event, and the cost to participate is $5. Registration will be held as a drive-through at the North Ridgeville Community Care on Thursday, June 1st, and Friday, June 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you'd like more information, contact the Chamber of Commerce at 440-327-3737. And then finally, on June 3rd, it's time for Touch a Truck again. It's the Park and Recreation sponsoring that event at Shady Drive Complex from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you remember the last couple of years, we've been doing a sensory-friendly version of that event. So from 10 a.m. until noon, that's when the sensory-friendly version will occur. That is the toning down of all the noises and sounds and lights for that. And after that, it's all stops are off at that point. So get up close and personal with all those kinds of vehicles and robots and all sorts of other gear that's out there. It's always a good time. And then finally, I'd like to appoint Paul Schumann to the Planning Commission. If you are not aware, one of our Planning Commission members, Jennifer Swallow, has decided to step down and to dedicate herself to some family commitments. Paul has been a city councilman in the city of North Olmsted, was appointed to fill a remainder of a term, elected twice to 4-year terms, and more importantly, has had 6.5 years on the North Olmsted Planning Commission, and has a varied background that we believe will be an exciting addition to Planning Commission, give a level of expertise that will be replacing Jennifer's expertise. Not quite the same, but somebody who can give us a lot of expertise that is desperately needed on that commission.
I'll second.
The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swank to appoint Paul Schumann to the Planning Commission. Are there any comments or questions from the council? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Congratulations, Paul.
All right, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
We'd also like to take a moment to thank Jen Swallow for all her, I don't know how long she was on there, but several years, I believe.
Quite a few.
Quite a few, yeah. So
Yes.
thank you to Jen as well. All right, engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few items. Race Road is officially closed for the Turnpike Bridge replacement work over Race Road. The work is anticipated to last approximately 120 days. The posted detour from the north is to Center Ridge to 83 to Sugar, and vice versa coming from the south. Additional details are posted on the North Ridgeville homepage. Carvo has finished all of the resurfacing of Center Ridge Road from the Elyria line to Case Road. They still need to do the westbound lane from Case to Stony. And they have also planed all of the pavement on the eastern end of town from Broad to the Westlake line. All of the major paving operations are tentatively scheduled to be done within the next 2 weeks. Real estate has been cleared for the Stony Mills and Avalon Peanut Roundabout. TC Energy is scheduled to start their gas main transmission work in preparation of the roundabout on May 30th. It's Tuesday. Traffic will be able to traverse from Stony Ridge to Mills, but Stony Ridge will be closed north of the intersection at the Avon line. Work is anticipated to take 2 weeks. Additionally, First Energy will be out to do their pole relocation upon the completion of TC Energy's work and the additional tree clearing that still needs to take place along Mills. 2 projects that engineering would like to get out to bid in the next few weeks include the full depth concrete pavement replacement and the catch basin repair projects. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. Director of Finance.
Thank you, Council President. Just briefly, I wanted to mention that last Friday, the Finance Department issued its April 2023 financial statement. That statement was distributed to Council and is available for public viewing on the city's website. In addition, we have T59 before Council tonight. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of then and now certificates. I would like to ask Council to consider adopting this legislation this evening and adding the emergency clause to allow the Finance Department the necessary resources to get these invoices paid. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, very good, thank you. Council is also in receipt of the April 2023 EPA and Water Distribution Report, the April 2023 Building Division Report, as well as the April 2023 Fire Department Report. We do have one council committee report on tonight's agenda. Clerk, if you could please read the Utilities Committee report, please.
Utilities Committee Report dated May 1st, 2023. The committee reviewed and considered T 36, 2023. The committee made a motion to send T 36, 2023 back to City Council for consideration.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
make a motion to approve, to accept the Utilities Committee report dated May 1st, 2023.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to accept the Utilities Committee report. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
now that T36, the committee report has been approved, I would like to add T36, 2023, to second readings this evening.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Swank to dispense with the bylaws and add T36 to tonight's agenda under second readings. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Thank you.
Under new business, oh, sorry, we do not have any correspondence or old business. So under new business, there are several items on tonight's agenda. We have two new liquor permit requests. Clerk, if you could please read the first request.
A request from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a new permit request from Ohio Springs Incorporated DBA Sheets 347 at 32-390 Lorraine Road.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle.
I'd like to move to not request a hearing, so this could be sent to the state for final disposition by May 28th.
Second.
The motion was made by Winkle and seconded by Swank to not request a hearing in order to send the permit request to the state for final disposition. Are there any additional comments? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Clerk, please read the second request.
A request from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a new permit request from QAJ Investments LLC DBA The Chief and Reef Smoke and Beverage at 35970 Center Ridge Road.
Mr. President, move to not request a hearing, so this could be sent to the state for final disposition by June 5th, my apologies, 5th.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Swank to not request a hearing in order to send the permit request to the state for final disposition. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. North Ridgeville Planning Commission took action on several items at their regular meeting held on May 9th, 2023, which we will review tonight. Clerk, if you could please read the first item, North Ridge Point Subdivision Phase 8.
North Ridge Point Subdivision Phase 8, West Shore Parkway, permanent parcel number 07-00-30-30-000-310. Proposal consists of constructing 31 single-family lots for Phase 8 of North Ridge Point Subdivision, property zoned R1 Resident District. The Planning Commission action approved by a vote of 5-0.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Abens?
Yeah, this is nothing more than a continuation of their project, as it states, Phase 8. I move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Abens and seconded by Winkle to approve the Planning Commission's approval of North Ridge Point Subdivision Phase 8. Are there any additional comments or questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
No.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1.
Clerk, please read the second item, St. Peter Catholic Church Maintenance Building.
St. Peter Catholic Church, 6920 Root Road, permanent parcel number 07-00-021-118-009. Proposal consists of constructing 2,300 square foot grounds maintenance building for St. Peter Church campus, property zoned R1 Resident District. Planning Commissional action approved by a vote of 5-0, with the condition of adding landscaping to the east side of the building.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens.
I'd like to make everybody aware, St. Peter Catholic Church, this is more than just a pole building. It is a nice-looking maintenance area. And so I move that we approve with the conditions.
Second.
The motion was made by Abens and seconded by Winkle to approve the Planning Commission's approval of St. Peter Catholic Church Maintenance Building. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Booth?
Yes, to avoid any potential conflict of interest, I'll be abstaining from this vote.
All right, thank you, Mr. Booth. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Abstain.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 4-0 with one abstention.
Clerk, please read the third item, Worcester Service and Sales Edition.
Worcester Service and Sales, 34200 Lorraine Road, permanent parcel number 07-00-014-104-029. Proposal consists of constructing a 1,786 square foot addition onto existing building, property zone B3 Highway Commercial District. Planning Commissional action approved by a vote of 5-0.
Mr. President, this is an example of a North Ridgeville business expanding and doing quite well, apparently. I move to approve.
Second.
Motion was made by Abens and seconded by Booth to approve the Planning Commission's approval of Worcester Service and Sales Addition. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously.
And clerk, please read the fourth and final item, sign code update.
Sign code update, proposed ordinance amending chapter 1286 signs. Planning Commission action approved by a vote of 5-0 to recommend to council with the condition of adding a time limit of 6 months to all temporary signs.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens.
we had a number of meetings pertaining to the sign code, and the only thing that we could come up with that we recommended was put a limit on temporary signs at 6 months. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Abens and seconded by Awig to approve the Planning Commission's approval of the sign code update. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Forgot to advance that. All right, with no additional new business being brought forth this evening, we will move on to recess.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth?
make a motion to dispense with recess.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with recess. All in favor, say yes.
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 All opposed, say no. Recess has been dispensed, and we will move right along to first readings. Up first, clerk, please read T 54.
T 54-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a partnership agreement with Lorraine County for the fiscal year 2023 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to dispense with the second and third readings for T 54. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
the
Mayor.
CHIP program is something that we partner with the county on an annual basis. So this is just to move this program forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so that we may enter this program as quickly as possible and in a timely manner.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to add the emergency clause to T 54 for the reasons just stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Swank to adopt T 54 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6069-2023.
T 55.
T55-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to advertise for bids and enter into a contract according to law and in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidder for the city signage project not to exceed $467,500.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T55. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, we had a presentation about these signs. We've been discussing them for quite some time. We actually appropriated a much higher amount back in November. The signs are designed to create a sense of place. We talked about this. It's tied up with our branding effort, trying to promote North Ridgeville, in an economic development manner, also to bring a sense of pride and community to our city. And when doing some research, if you remember, we talked about improving our gateways to our city as far back as 2009, and that was part of the master plan back then. This is just an effort to move all of this forward with our new branding and bring some consistency to all the signage throughout the city.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any additional comments or questions? So again, the motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T55. All in favor say yes. Yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Motion
move to
carries.
adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause so that way we can go out to bid for this project.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T55 in order to move the signage project along. On the emergency clause alone,
Mr. President,
yes, Mr.
can I ask
Lewis?
again, what's the reason for the emergency?
Mr. Booth, with a project like this, there are timing concerns. Once the product is manufactured and getting it installed in the bidding process, we're looking at a time frame of fall. Any delays at this point would make it more difficult to install these signs, given the ground conditions that usually occur during the wintertime. That is the biggest reason.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sure. It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T55 for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to adopt T55 with the emergency clause in place. And at this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6070-2023.
T56.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract according to law in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidder for the replacement and upgrade of the complete mixed tank aeration and mixing systems for the French Creek wastewater treatment plant not to exceed $6.7 million.
T57.
T57-2023. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract according to law in a manner prescribed by law with the American Structure Point Incorporated, a professional engineering firm for the design and construction oversight services for the replacement of gates and cleaning of the influent wet well at the French Creek wastewater treatment plant not to exceed $78,800.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
if I could ask through the chair, because this has to be done prior to the pump replacement project, is there an issue with timing?
There's always an issue at French Creek wastewater treatment plant with timing.
Usually it's the other way.
Yeah. I believe that we could wait until next meeting for this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. T58,
T58-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to enter into a contract for the purchase of a new ambulance in the amount of $319,989 and for auxiliary equipment in the amount of $58,734 for a total of $378,723 for the fire equipment.
Mr. President,
yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings for
Second.
T58.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Booth to dispense with the second and third readings for T58. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, as you're aware, we ordered an ambulance quite some time ago. It's still going to take quite some time for it to come in. We've taken a look at purchasing this unit in advance at the price that we could lock it in at a cheaper price. It's still going to take quite some time for this to come in. We're having a problem getting any kind of these types of vehicles. It can be as much as 2 years before they come in. So we figured with the timing of replacement that we normally follow, by the time this one comes in, it'll be right around the time that we would normally replace it. But in order to meet that timing, we need to order it now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any additional comments or questions? So again, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Booth to dispense with the second and third readings for T58. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause due to my previous comments.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Booth to add the emergency clause to T58 for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Booth to adopt T58 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens?
I'd just like to comment that inflation really has set in. I remember these things cost about $250,000 about 8 years ago. And I can understand the emergency and wanting to get them on order now before inflation sets in even more.
They have gone up quite a bit. Thank God we don't have to buy our ladder truck right now. I don't know if you noticed, but Avon Lake just recently bought one. It's going to take 2 years, and it's like $2 million.
Wow.
It's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Abens. Mr. Mayor, are there any additional comments or questions? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries and unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6071-2023.
T59.
T59-2023, a resolution authorizing the execution of then and now certificates by the city fiscal officer and the payment of amounts due for various purchase orders.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second?
Motion was made by Booth and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T59. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
motion to adopt.
Second?
Mr. President, make a motion to add the emergency. The services have been completed. We need to pay the item.
Second?
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to T59 for the reasons stated by Mr. Booth. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to adopt T59 with the emergency clause in place. Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes resolution number 1596-2023.
T60.
T60-2023, an ordinance providing for the replacement of Chapter 1286 signs of the North Ridgeville Planning and Zoning Code.
T61.
T61-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to evaluate bids previously advertised and negotiate and enter into contracts for a 12-month period according to law and in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidders for the purchase of roadway materials to be used by the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T61. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President, this is an ordinance that we pass on an annual basis to purchase roadway materials for our service department when they're doing roadway work. So they are in that season right now, and hence I will be asking for the emergency clause on this.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for T61. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
make a motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, make a motion to add the emergencies so that we can meet the deadline. We've already had this retroactive to May 1st so that we can order the materials and get the work done.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to T61 for the reasons just stated by Mr. Booth. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Abens to adopt T61 with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens?
question to the mayor. Does this mean the list for the roads to be repaired will be coming out shortly?
It does.
Good.
I'd like to be notified before that so I can get prepared for the irritated calls.
Okay. As you're
I'll second that.
As you're aware, over the last several years, we've been using that outside engineering firm's ratings of all of our roads, and we've been using that as our guide and objective measure to all of those roadway repairs. I know this comes up every year. Everybody thinks that their road is the worst, and we've talked about how there are roads that are the worst, and they are ranked according to that report. And we have been working on those from the bottom to the top. So the worst to the best.
Are there any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6072-2023.
T62.
T62-2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to advertise for bids and negotiate a contract according to law and in a manner prescribed by law for the rental equipment and related services for road repair and maintenance to be used by the service department.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
The motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T62. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Booth.
This ordinance goes along somewhat with the previous one. This is for equipment that is needed to prepare the roads and such. And so, again, this goes back retroactive to April. And so we need to get this passed, and we'll ask for the emergency as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Booth. Any additional comments or questions? Again, the motion was made by Booth and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T62. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency so that we can get the equipment rented and the services completed in time.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to add the emergency clause to T62 in order to get the equipment purchased, or rented rather, and the project completed. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Booth and seconded by Winkle to adopt T62 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Booth,
Yes.
Abens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Awig?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6073-2023.
Moving on to second readings. First, T47.
T47-2023, an ordinance amending Chapter 854 peddlers, canvassers, and solicitors.
I will make a motion to amend T47
Second.
in order to add section 854.01D as stated that in the version in front of us tonight, which reads that neither canvasser, peddler, nor solicitor is defined above to political or religious solicitation or canvassing, nor does it apply to nonprofit solicitation conducted by minors in connection with fundraising.
Second.
The motion was made by Jacobs and seconded by Abens to amend T47. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. T47 has been amended. Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Move to dispense with the third reading. Second.
The motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the third reading for T47 amended. Are there any comments or questions at this time?
Mr. President, last time we discussed how this ordinance would be helpful if it went into effect now, since most of these types of people come to our office during the summertime to get permits, and we wanted to add these safety enhancements to the process before they came in and asked for them.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any additional comments or questions? Again, it was moved by the mayor and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the third reading for T47. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, move to add the emergency clause, get the safety measures in place as soon as possible.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T47 amended in order to get the safety measures in place as soon as possible. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to adopt T47 amended with that emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink?
Yes.
Boos?
Yes.
Abens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Awig?
Yes.
DeVries? Oh, sorry. Jacobs?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously 6-0, the amended version, and becomes ordinance number 6074-2023.
T48.
T48-2023. An ordinance amending Chapter 856 mobile frozen dessert sales.
Again, I will make a motion to amend this legislation. We are looking to add, strike out the word "over" under section 856.03A2 to require 18 or older instead of 19 or older. And also an amendment is in order to add the words "list all individuals operating the frozen dessert vehicle" to sections 856.04A and G, which essentially will require a background check for all individuals who are on the vehicle as opposed to just the permit holder.
Second.
Motion was made by Jacobs and seconded by Awig to add, to amend T48 with the changes as just stated. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr.
move to
Winkle?
dispense with the third reading.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to dispense with the third reading for T48. Are there any comments or questions at this time?
Mr. President, this is going to be related, very similar to T47 for the safety protocols to be put into place as soon as possible. So we're looking for emergency on this as well.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Winkle. Any additional comments or questions? Again, it was moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to dispense with the third reading for T48. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
Mr. President, move to adopt.
Second.
Move to add the emergency clause as well for the reasons stated earlier.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T48 amended for the reasons stated earlier by Mr. Winkle. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by Winkle and seconded by Awig to adopt T48 amended with the emergency clause in place. At this time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, and amended T48 becomes ordinance number 6075-2023.
Before we move on to third readings, T36.
T36-2023, an ordinance amending subsection C7 of NRCO, section 634.01, noise disturbances.
And under third readings, T4 amended.
T4 2023 amended, an ordinance creating NRCO Chapter 478, regulating the operation of low-speed and underspeed vehicles.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Swink?
move to approve,
Second.
Adopt?
adopt, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Awig. It was moved by Swank and seconded by Awig to adopt T4. This time, are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Abens?
when this first was introduced, I wasn't real enthusiastic about it, but quite frankly, over time, did a lot more outside research. And basically, I noticed that we have bicycles, electric bicycles that can do 35 miles an hour that are operated by children and don't need a operator's license. I've also noticed that there's cars being built and approved for roads that aren't much better than this. In fact, I think sometimes worse. Furthermore, I've seen electric cars that are good for 1 or 2 people that are actually smaller than this. We're restricting them to the side streets. I think this is safer than having a mom on an electric bicycle with a child seat behind it. And so my intention is to vote for it.
Thank you, Mr. Abens. Are there any additional comments or questions?
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Booth?
Yeah, I've heard the testimony from the police chief during the committee meetings, as well as other research that I've done, and I just can't get beyond the safety issues that this could pose for the operators and for those outside of the operators. And so for that, I will be voting no.
Thank you, Mr. Booth. Any additional comments or questions? All right, hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
Yes.
Boos,
No.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Awig,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1 and becomes ordinance number 6076-2023.
As for meeting announcements, there will be a public hearing held on Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. here in City Council chambers to discuss T60 2023. And the next regular City Council meeting will also be held on Monday, June 5th, again here in council chambers, and the time for the council meeting per our normal schedule will be 7 p.m. Do any of the council members or administration have any final comments this evening? All right, hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Good night, everybody.